Dr. Amanda with Straightsmile Solutions, straightsmilesolutions.com, and today we're going to talk a little bit more about maxillary labial frenectomies. And of course, I'm not a periodontist, but I've done a lot of ortho cases that involve maxillary labial frenectomies, as well as I've had one myself. I have so much content on this subject: why you need it, when you need it, how you tell if you need it, staging of it, how it works with braces, how it works with aligners, healing from it, measuring for it, referring for it. So I recommend before you listen to this video that you go back into my YouTube channel and listen to all the other videos. This will build on those. So to reach those, you're going to go to my YouTube channel, which is Straightsmile Solutions. You may or may not be in there right now. If you're not, go into the search bar of YouTube and put in Straightsmile Solutions. That takes you to my YouTube channel, which has almost 7,000 videos to date, as well as playlists. It should have a green banner. When you scroll a little bit and over to the right towards the top, there's a tiny little magnifying glass, not in the corner, but kind of top right. And you can put in any keyword like frenectomy, and you can watch all those videos. Okay, so I'm assuming you already listened to those other videos because I'm not going to repeat stuff. I'm going to talk about extra big frenums and complications that can happen. And one doctor just asked me a question today and I realized I didn't have this covered, so I needed to make supplemental content. So when you have an extra big, and this one's actually not that big, and the vast majority, not to sound like I'm pigeonholing or anything like that, but everyone I've always seen that's had a big frenum has always been African American or of African descent, Black Americans. That's just how it's been. I've never seen a Caucasian or an Asian person with a big frenum like this, big gap. So it's just how it is. And I think they're absolutely beautiful. And some people choose to leave them. Some people with ortho just choose to reduce them a little bit. I've had plenty of patients, I even think I had a denture patient that asked us to make one, So, first of all, never assume that a patient wants it all the way closed. As a matter of fact, whenever I see a patient who has one, I say, would you like this closed? Do you want it fully closed? Because sometimes it's just part of their personality. It's just who they are. It's part of their identity, and they don't want it fully closed. They might want it closed a little bit so that when they're talking, they're not quote spitting corn, or heard all kind of funny analogies, or gleeking or making funny squeaky noises. But anyways, okay. So let's assume they want it fully closed, because if they don't want it fully closed, they probably don't need the frenectomy. But if they want it fully closed, they're probably going to need to get the frenectomy, because I've never seen one where they didn't have to get one and get it fully closed. And remember, if you're taking this as an ortho case, if you've never done a maxillary labial frenectomy before surgery, please don't try to attempt it, because if you botch it, all kind of weird, and I'm not a periodontist, but all kind of weird scar tissue, things can happen. So please refer this patient out if you don't know what you're doing. I much prefer a periodontist than an oral surgeon do. I don't think I've ever referred to OS. They usually butcher it. They're good with big jobs and back teeth and pulling out teeth, but not this kind of intricate work. And what was I gonna say? Yeah, never assume they want it fully closed. Ask first. I'm not gonna repeat any of the other stuff, but one challenge that can happen with these extra big ones, and this one's not even that big. This was the biggest stock photo that I could find that I could share. I have seen other photos, but I don't have releases on them to show them. I've seen ones much bigger than this. As you start to close the space slowly, and don't forget, a lot of times these are caused by bolt-in discrepancies. So you can only close the space as much as the lower teeth will allow you to. When you start hitting contact, you're either going to have to, usually on these big guys, you're going to have to probably pull out a lower incisor. Easiest way to tell is to throw it into Invisalign where they have the bolt-in tab and see what the bolt-in discrepancy is. That's a really easy way to tell, and simulate it, and then you have an idea. Because sometimes it's a no-go if they have to pull out a tooth. There's only so much IPR that can be done for clearance, right? Especially if they have a little more crowding and everything's shifted forward. But as you start to close it, what's usually going to happen is that the tissue, all this extra tissue that's here, right? Although there is some remodeling that happens as you go, a lot of times it just can't keep up with the amount of space closure that needs to be done. So you're going to have to sometimes send them intermittently to the periodontist to get a gingivectomy or gingivoplasty as you go, because all that tissue is just going to swell up and balloon up, even if they have great hygiene, and it turns into an infection and food gets trapped underneath it and it looks nasty. And then that balloon prevents the space closure, right? So sometimes you have to go get them to get it sliced off. That might be something you can do in your office if you've had some surgeries. It's not the full frenectomy, but just the slice of the extra tissue. Maybe you can do that. But that's up to you. And I'd rather you run that by your periodontist first, because some periodontists get really upset if you start messing with their site that they're going to have to do a frenectomy on. Remember, you always on these cases send a perio first before you even start the case, because on these cases, what has happened to me more than once, if I didn't do that, the patient's like, yeah, I have a periodontist. Yeah, we're good. We already talked. Okay, fine. We start the ortho. We get to the point where we're ready to do this, or maybe we finished it. Okay, you need to go get it's time for you to go get the frenectomy now. Oh, I don't have the money. My insurance is not going to cover it. Okay, well, it's not going to stay closed then, no bonded retainer in the world is going to keep that closed. And we can only keep braces on for so long, or, aligners on for so long. So you want to make sure that they are committed, contracted, put a deposit down. Whatever it means, give your periodontist a call. I don't try to get too in the middle of the finances, but I want to know they're locked in stone to this treatment plan and they're fully committed to it, because I don't want to spend a year and a half closing a space and then we give up and now it becomes a whole issue, like when they relapse, who's responsible for the relapse, right? It can add, with the gingivoplasty and the frenectomy, depending on if they're getting sedation or not, it can add easily a couple of thousand to and that's a separate fee than what you're charging, right? So maybe you're charging $5,000 or $6,000, they're charging $3,000 to $5,000 if they're getting IV sedation, which I think it's super unnecessary, but there's plenty of phobic people out there that are asking for that, right? Now it's a $10,000 case, right? So, and then there's a timing thing. It's not like they can just get the frenectomy whenever they want. There's a very detailed timing on when it needs to be done. And it has to be done in that small window. And I can't always predict exactly when it's going to be. So they need to have the money ready to go. So I feel a lot better that they've signed the contract, they put a deposit down for the periodontist, and we're ready to go. And that they're aware that they might need to come in for a gingivoplasty or two and what the cost would be, if that would be extra or not. Okay. So that's pretty much all I got to say. All right. Thanks so much.